So, what if I told you that a viral tweet could be literature? Or, I don't know, the story in a blockbuster video game? It probably sounds a little out there, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll see why our old school definition of literature is long overdue for a major update. All right, let's dive in. Okay, let's start with a bit of a puzzle. What on earth do the fairy tales you heard as a kid have in common with some huge, complex, epic poem? I mean, they seem like they're from different planets, but they actually share this really surprising connection that gets right to the heart of what literature is all about. Now, if you go and look up literature in a dictionary, you're going to get something that looks pretty much exactly like this: a body of written works. And yeah, it's neat, it's tidy, but it's also kind of boring. And as we're about to find out, it doesn't even come close to telling the whole story.
Yeah, that simple definition, it's like trying to see the entire world through a tiny keyhole. To really get the full picture, we've got to throw that door wide open and look way beyond just what's written on a page.
So check this out, because this is the really crucial shift. We're moving away from this super rigid, kind of boxy definition, a body of written works, to something way more flexible and alive. The new view is basically saying that literature is anything that springs from our creative imagination. It's about the spark, not just the paper it's printed on. And this just shows you how huge this new idea really is. It brings in all those ancient oral traditions and folk tales that were around forever, long before writing. It covers the whole shebang, from the tiniest two-line poems to the most massive epic sagas. And this is so important, it includes all the creative stuff happening right now in new media. Think about a powerful story told through a thread of tweets. It's this massive, ever-expanding universe of human expression. But expanding this definition isn't just some, academic game. It gets at something absolutely essential about who we are as people. So let's pivot a little bit from what literature is to why we even have it in the first place. This quote from the historian Yuval Noah Harari is a total game changer. Seriously. He's arguing that our ability to make up and share stories, to imagine things that aren't literally real, is the secret sauce that allowed our ancestors to build huge communities and work together. So in other words, literature isn't just for fun. It's literally woven into the very fabric of human civilization. Okay, so up to this point, we've been talking all about the text, the poem, the story. But now it's time to bring in the other half of the equation, which is you, the reader. Because it turns out, literature isn't a monologue, it's a conversation. And this right here, this is the big idea. Literature isn't something you just sit back and passively consume like you're watching TV. It's a partnership. It's any work that reaches out and actively invites you, the reader, to bring your own creativity to the table. So how does this partnership actually play out? Well, it's kind of a process. Step 1 is easy enough. You just read the words on the page, what's literally there. Then step 2, you start to dig a little deeper. You look at how it's built, its form and structure. But step 3, that's where the real magic happens. This is where you interpret the gaps and silences. You read between the lines, connect the dots the writer left for you. And all of that leads to step 4, where you generate your own creative response. You actually become a co-creator in the meaning of the work. How cool is that? All right, so we've got literature as a partnership. Now, let's add one final, really powerful layer to this. It comes from this field called cultural studies, and it asks us to think about the entire world outside the text and the reader. It gives us a whole new lens for understanding what we're reading. This table just lays it out so clearly. The traditional view, it often focuses only on the great works, the stuff that's officially approved, with the goal of just appreciating it as timeless, universal art. But the cultural studies view just blows that wide open. It says every cultural practice, a novel, a pop song, an advertisement, is worth looking at. And the goal isn't just appreciation, it's to unravel the social dynamics of the world that produced it. The text becomes this amazing window into a specific time and place. So after all this, what's the bottom line? Why does this bigger, messier, more complex definition of literature actually matter? Well, because it helps us understand not just stories, but our world and our own place in it. So let's just wrap this all up. What have we figured out? Well, first, literature is so much more than just books on a shelf. Second, it's a fundamental part of what makes us human. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Third, it's an active, creative partnership between a text and a reader. And finally, it's a powerful tool, a window into our culture and all of its complexities. So the next time you pick up a book or watch a movie or even just find yourself scrolling through your social media feed, remember, you're not just consuming a story, you're participating in a cultural practice. And that leaves us with a pretty big question, one I want to leave you with. What does your own reading list, your personal media diet, say about the world we're all living in right now?